Okay, the following is a fantastic strategy which has huge potential to see people saved and assimilated into your church. I think this is a really great strategy to draw everybody in your church together for one great purpose. That's the Great Commission, to get the gospel to your community, into your city, into your country. So check this out. Tell me what you think. The core of this strategy is the website bible11.org/ and then the name of your church, or an abbreviation of the name of your church. So when you go onto that website there, there is no such website as what you're seeing there, because the / after the / we need the name of your church to make it go live. How does this work? Well, firstly, your church will print some business cards with the following on each side. On one side will be the name of your church, your logo, and anything else you want to include. And then on the other side will be the words, "Yep, the whole Bible summarized in 11 minutes." At the bottom there'll be a unique web address which links directly to your church. So when people come onto that website, it'll look like it's a website uniquely dedicated just to your church. You tell us what wording you want after the / and the web address, and we register this for you. This web address then becomes unique to your church, as I've just said. Alright, these cards are then given out to all the members in your church. They will in turn give them to non-Christians, family, friends, workmates, strangers, people they're sitting next to on buses, airplanes, wherever. So we're just basically wanting to get the gospel to every single person in our community. And there is a picture of somebody just handing one of your business cards, a Christian to a non-Christian. What do non-Christians see when they visit this bible11.org / the name of your church website? What are they going to see? Well, the first thing they see is some people in your church welcoming the visitor to this site. Now, here's a church that's made up a montage of little videos. This is going to be their intro. This is what they wanted, so they made up their own intro. You can make up your own intro as well. We can give you the scripts of script of what to say. But this is what this particular church wanted to do. So let me just show this to you and play it to you.
Hi, I'm Cam. Thank you for taking the time to come and visit this website.
What you are about to see is a summary of the most famous book of all time.
In fact, year after year, for as long as records have been kept, the Bible has been the world's best-selling book.
It's been translated into more languages than any other.
In other words, its timeless truths transcend racial and cultural barriers.
God speaks to people powerfully through this message.
Billions of people down through the ages have had their lives and eternal destinies changed by watching it.
It's an awesome video.
My prayer is that this will be your experience too.
Enjoy.
Okay, well that's the video. The next thing they see is the 11-minute presentation of the gospel, which you can see at www.bible11.com. So let's just go through this video and see what they're going to see.
Gospel message. The Bible describes God and heaven as holy. Holy just means perfect. Now it's really important to understand that God can't let anything imperfect into heaven. Otherwise it just wouldn't be heaven. The Bible also says that all of us have a body and a soul. At death, our body is either buried or cremated. But our soul, which is the real you, lives on forever, either in heaven or hell. So unfortunately, we've got a bit of a problem, because the Bible says that if we've broken just one of God's laws, for example, if we've lied once, cheated once, hated once, just once, like we all have, let's be honest, then our soul becomes imperfect and we cannot enter heaven. Do you know anyone who has never broken any of God's laws? The answer is obviously no. So here's our problem. All people have broken God's laws. Therefore, all people have imperfect souls. So if at death your soul could either go to heaven or hell, but to get to heaven, you must have a perfect record, and none of us have one, then sadly all of us must be headed for hell. Now that might seem harsh, and you might ask the question, how could a loving God create a place like hell, let alone send someone there? So let's look at it this way. Think of someone you love very much. Now imagine that person is brutally murdered. The police catch the murderer, and the murderer pleads guilty in court. But to your horror, The judge says, "This is a really bad thing you've done. But because I'm a loving judge, I'm just going to let you off." You'd be very angry, wouldn't you? Why? Because you know that when someone has broken the law, they must be punished. Otherwise, there's no justice. So you see, hell is not a love issue. It's a justice issue. Let's consider 3 questions to help us understand why there's got to be this place called hell. Have you ever told a lie in your life? Well, the answer's surely yes, even if only a so-called white lie. If you've lied once, then you're guilty of being a liar. Have you ever taken anything that's not yours? For example, have you ever gone to work late or left early and got paid for it? Have you ever used the boss's telephone or photocopier without asking permission, or knowingly taken an office pencil home? This is stealing, of course. Most people have taken something that's not theirs, which makes them guilty of being a thief. Now, do you think that God is going to let a bunch of thieving liars like us into heaven? Not likely, because if he did, he'd be the same as the unjust judge who failed to punish the murder of the one you love. We can't have it both ways. But many people say, wait a minute, I'm a good person, and there's a big difference between lying and stealing and murder. I've never murdered anyone. But what's interesting is the way Jesus redefined murder. He said that if you hated a person in your heart, you've murdered them in your heart. So here's the last question. Have you ever hated anyone? The truth is that most people have felt anger or hatred in their heart towards others, which in God's eyes makes us guilty of murder. So you see, this is the bad news. For the sake of justice, there has to be a place called hell. But there is good news, and this is where Jesus Christ comes in. The most significant thing that distinguishes Jesus from everyone else is that he is perfect. Unlike us, he's not broken any of God's laws. So he has a perfect record, a perfect soul. Picture the scene before Jesus came to earth 2,000 years ago. Jesus looked forward in time and saw you here today. He turned to God the Father and asked him, "Father, I love the people in the world, and I don't want them to go to hell for breaking your laws. Is there a way for them to be forgiven?" God the Father looked at his Son and said, "Jesus, there is one way. Go to earth and become a human being, but live a perfect life. Then die a cruel death on a cross to take the punishment that the people in the world justly deserve for breaking my laws. When you do this, I can make it possible for them to be forgiven the day when they ask you to exchange their imperfect record for your perfect record." Jesus willingly agreed, and 2,000 years ago, he came to lay down his life for us, to pay the price for all of God's laws that we've broken. And there is no greater love than when someone lays down their life for another. But there is still something that we must do to be forgiven. There are 3 major events in everyone's life. There's birth and death. Ultimately, we have no control over these. But the 3rd major event is the day when we ask Jesus to forgive us, when we ask Jesus to give us his perfect record. Now, there are some popular misconceptions about this, but in the Bible, God's gift of forgiveness is clear. We're not forgiven by being christened or baptized or confirmed, not even by praying occasionally or going to church, or by believing in God, or by trying to be good. These are all good things, but none of them give us forgiveness. Jesus said that there are 2 things that we must do to be forgiven. The first is that we must be willing to turn away from anything we know is wrong in our life and say sorry to Jesus. Notice the word willing. There may be some things in your life that you feel powerless to give up on your own strength, like addictions or habits or other complicated things. And that's okay, because God will help us as long as we're willing and want to turn away from those things. The second thing we must do is surrender to Jesus. Now, surrender means this. If God made you and the entire universe that surrounds you, don't you think he deserves to be the central person in your life? Surrendering to Jesus is when we acknowledge him as our Saviour and humble our lives to him in service. When you were born, it's as though God opened a book about your life. Now bear in mind that God sees everything you do. He knows every attitude, every thought, every motive, and every action. Every time we break just one of God's laws, it's written down in that book. You can imagine that by the end of our lives, there's a whole library written against us. But when you turn and surrender to Jesus, something incredible happens. It's like Jesus takes your book and stands at the top of a cliff and tears out all the pages, the whole record of the things you've done wrong, and he throws them into the deepest sea. He promises to never remember those things again. Jesus then takes a copy of his perfect record, which you've asked him to give you, and he places it inside the cover of your book with your name on the spine. That book is then stored like a precious library book in heaven. The miracle is that your book is not touched again between the point that you ask Jesus to forgive you and death, even though in that time you may make mistakes and break God's laws again. Becoming a Christian doesn't instantly make you perfect, nor does it mean that you can say a quick prayer and return to your old ways. Remember, God forgave you forever when you asked for Jesus' perfect record. All he asks is that you surrender everything to him and let him daily refine you from your wrongdoing. When you die, you will go before God on Judgment Day, and God will command his angels to get your book. He'll look inside that book and say, "This person was perfect." You will probably say to him, "No, I wasn't. I broke your laws. Don't I justly deserve to go to hell?" And Jesus will say to you, "For the sake of justice, you do deserve to go to hell. You did break my laws, and some you broke many times. But you, my beautiful child, have my perfect record, which I gave you when you turned and surrendered to me on earth, and I forgave you. Welcome to heaven." That is why Jesus is so amazing. He made it possible for everyone in the world, regardless of what mistakes we've made, to be forgiven and to one day enter heaven. But say you never turned and surrendered. Think about what would happen. When you die, you'll go before God at judgment, and God will say to you, "I'm sorry, I can't let you enter heaven. I have to send you to hell. You never asked me to forgive you. I loved you so much that I tried 6 ways to get through to you. First, I died on the cross to take your punishment. Second, someone explained to you in a simple way that you could be forgiven. Third, there were churches throughout the world. Some were good and some I was ashamed of. You could have found the good ones. Fourth, I gave you a conscience so you could tell right from wrong. Fifth, I created a world around you that was so awesome. How could you not wonder about me? And finally, I rose from the dead to prove that I was God and that everything I said was true. But you still did nothing. I'm sorry, I can't let you into heaven. I have to send you to hell. So how about you? If you die tonight, where will you go? Remember, to get to heaven, you need a perfect record, which you could never have unless you ask Jesus to give you his. To receive this free gift, you only have to do 2 things. First, be willing to turn away from the wrong way. And secondly, surrender to Jesus. Unless you do these 2 things, it's impossible to be forgiven. And at death, it's impossible to get into heaven. Which is so sad. Because this is the very reason Jesus died for you.
Okay, so they've seen that video, and that's the gospel. What comes next? At the end of the gospel message, Howard Dobson from TV3, or one of your own church members, appears again with a short outro video. So again, you can make up your own outro. If you don't want to use Howard Dobson, you can make up your own intro, and so on. So this is a project for your church to get up and running, but if you haven't got much time and you want to just use the footage that we already have, then you can use that. Okay, so here's Howard, and he will appear immediately after the gospel message.
Hi, I'm Howard Dobson from TV3 Sports Tonight Show. Thank you for taking the time to watch the summary of the Bible. Now, when anyone watches this video, I always ask them this question at the end. If everything you've just seen is true, and if you died tonight, where would you go? Of all the questions we ask in life, this is without doubt the most important. If you found out that you're not going to heaven when you die, or you're not sure, please don't stop here. Find someone who can help you take the next steps on your journey. There are some awesome churches in your area where you live, led by friendly, down-to-earth people. They're like coaches or trainers because they've been doing it for a while. They can answer those questions, provide encouragement, a helping hand, and maybe even a little guidance. You can check them out right now. Please take a moment or two to watch these short videos of each one as they introduce themselves to you. Then contact one of them and introduce yourself and go from there. We'll show you how you can find complete forgiveness, the abundant life Jesus offered, and a real and living relationship with Jesus. Hey, I'll see you in heaven.
And then it goes through to the videos of the people in the website that they're going to meet. So here's a guy, Ian Dixon, and you just click on the arrows either side. There's the right hand arrow and the left hand arrow. So if you click the right hand, it takes you through to the next person from your church who's available to meet with non-Christians here. And then this is what the non-church person would see as they visit your website. They click again, they see another person, and so on and so on. If they want to go back, they go to the left hand arrow. You get the idea. Okay, at the end of the outro, website visitors are automatically taken through to another page, which I've kind of just explained already. This page has 2-minute videos of people in your church. So what you're seeing there is a screenshot of what I've just shown you after the Howard Dobson outro. These people are volunteering to make themselves available to connect with non-Christians who visit the www.bible11./ the name of your church website. Alright, please notice some things about the connect videos. We call them connect videos because these are people in your church who are going to be on the website volunteering to connect with non-Christians who come and visit the site. So the name of the person in your church will be there, the name of your church will be there so people can go and have a look at it, the address of your church. The site visitor is asked to fill out a quick form which is automatically sent through to John Doe. It's up to John Doe to contact the visitor. In this way, John's in control, his contact details are confidential, the site is safe. So the details, contact details of people in your church are not on the site. Alright, how do volunteers in your church list themselves on this website with their 2-minute videos? Well, you just go to that web address down there, and when you go to that web address there is a little form which opens up, and there it is. We'll just need your name, your email, your church name, your church website, because we want people to also to be able to visit your church website when they come onto this site. The address of your YouTube video, your pastor's permission, because obviously we want the right kind of people representing you on this website for their 2-minute videos. And we want your bank account details and your PIN number. Please, no, that's only a joke. Okay, all the volunteers need to do is shoot their video. They upload it onto YouTube. Young people, or there'll be lots of people in your church who know how to do this. Copy the website address of your video, that's the URL. There it is there. If you go onto YouTube, you can see that. And then paste it into your web form just there, and you're done. And then that's how you post a 2-minute video of one of your people onto this website. We will then send you your unique web address. Have a thousand cards printed. We print them for you. This website is free, but we ask you to purchase the cards off us that you're going to distribute. That's one way that we can pay for all the development of all of this. And also it supports the ministry, so it's kind of like a win-win for everybody. And then what we want you to do is start recruiting people to your church, start giving out the cards, and the second thing you're going to do is start recruiting people to shoot their own video and make themselves available to be a connection point for non-Christians who visit the Bible11.org and then / the name of your church website. email the link to this video to everyone in your church so they can understand fully what this strategy is all about and can join in. So basically what this whole strategy is about is mobilizing your whole church to go into the world and spread the gospel, and then what it's doing is capturing all the people who are on the other end of receiving a card, capturing them all and bringing them back to your church. So it's filtering everybody back through the web to your church. Pretty cool. Okay, God bless you. Thanks for watching.